the duty solicitor is doing nothing for me. That's a statement I hear time and time again with clients and new inquiries that telephone me, people that I speak with, emails that I receive, text messages and so on. It is a problem. The way the legal system operates is that if you've been accused of committing an offence and you may well have been arrested, taken to the police station, you're normally offered or should be offered a duty solicitor. If you take advantage of that, then a duty solicitor under the legal aid scheme will hopefully attend the police station to represent you. Sometimes it's just by a telephone conference, but you should get some legal assistance. The problem, however, is once you then are released from the station on bail, because you could be waiting several months until you hear what's happening, and it's tremendous pressure to be under, having been accused of something when the police have probably seized electrical items, computers, phones and so on, and you've no idea what's going on. You've no idea whether you're going to be prosecuted, whether you could go to prison, and clients tell me time and time again that they cannot get any satisfaction from the duty solicitor firm, just not interested, and they can't get any contact from the lawyer that represented them. Hopefully it was a lawyer that represented them at the police station. It is a problem because under the legal aid scheme, there is no legal aid available for pre-charge work. So if you haven't yet been charged with an offence, a law firm cannot claim legal aid to give you any assistance. So consequently, legal aid firms can claim some legal aid when they represent you at the police station only, but following that, there's no legal aid available. So consequently, and it's a sad reflection on the way the criminal justice system is, but very little work is actually done in your particular case because nobody's being paid for it. So, sad fact of life, people are not being paid, generally they're not going to work. It is important, if it's affordable, that you have your own private firm of solicitors acting on your behalf early on. Don't just wait around. Most people don't realise that whilst the investigation is taking place, you have the right to make representations to the police. There's certain pieces of evidence we can obtain. There may be experts involved from the police's side that interrogating your equipment. There's results and reports that are being written. Your solicitor can get hold of those pieces of information, can advise you properly, can start working on defence arguments for you. But also the police will at some stage make a request to the prosecution service based on the evidence presented to the prosecution service by the police and ask them for an advice as to whether you should be charged or not. And if you are going to be charged, what offence or offences you're going to be charged with. And that's so important because when I represent clients, what I'm able to do is to make representations not only to the police, but also to the Crown Prosecution reviewing team. And what I'm trying to do is to persuade them not to prosecute, or if they are going to prosecute, to try to obtain a lesser charge. Because with sexual offences, there are literally hundreds of different types of sexual offences and variations of sexual offences. Some are extremely serious, some are less serious. If you are going to be prosecuted, then there is a benefit, of course, to be prosecuted with a lesser serious offence, particularly if it doesn't carry a custodial sentence or less likelihood of a custodial sentence. But if you don't make representations yourself or via your solicitor to the police or the prosecution service, then nobody is hearing your side of the story. Nobody's making representations. So the prosecution reviewing lawyer is only hearing the side of the story that comes from the police. And of course, they're the ones that want to prosecute you. So the danger then is that you do get prosecuted, you then go to court, you're faced with those offences. Of course, you can then defend those offences, but in my view, it's much better to spend the weeks or months prior to that decision being made to then start to work on defence arguments, look at any available evidence, make representations to the police, and try to stop the police or the prosecution service charging you with any offence. Clearly, it's a better outcome if there's no further action or there's no charges laid against you. The reason why it's important to make representations to the prosecution is the prosecution service, under its code for Crown prosecutors, has to consider various issues prior to making a decision to charge. And one of those is whether there is a realistic prospect of a conviction. Now, if the only evidence going to the Crown Prosecution Service is the evidence presented by the police, then the Prosecution Service may well conclude, yes, there is a realistic prospect of conviction based on the information the police have given them. But they've not heard anything from you or from your solicitor. Whereas if, for example, with my clients, if I make representations to the prosecution reviewing team, and I can redress the balance and I can start to show why it's going to be difficult for the court to convict or for any jury to convict, then what I'm hoping is the prosecution will decide that there is not a reasonable prospect of a conviction and therefore decide not to prosecute in the first place. And so the case never goes to court. And that's just a very simple, basic explanation of what happens with the police and the prosecution during the investigation. There's a lot more to it, but it just hopefully emphasises the importance for you to start working with your solicitors early on. Don't just leave it. It's not as expensive as you might think to have solicitors involved early on. There isn't any legal aid for that, but often the work we do is done on a fixed fee. So you know exactly what the cost is going to be. It doesn't matter how long the investigation work goes on for, the fee stays the same. So if you do want some more information on that, by all means get in touch with me. My name is Marcus Johnston from PCD Solicitors in Cheshire, and I'll be pleased to have a chat with you, go through anything at all with you, and cover any questions that you might have. And the initial consultation completely free of charge. So I hope to hear from you soon, and good luck with any issues that you have ongoing at the moment. And thanks for watching. Bye bye.